Welcome to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast. This is a call to action to live above limitations that try to disrupt your peace, steal your joy, and limit your access to your best life. I'm Latasha Weatherspoon, the Chief Empowerment Officer of the Lifted Lifestyle. I'm joined today by my favorite host, Mr. Chaz Bailey.
Hello, world. This is Chaz Bailey, the COO, Creative Opportunities. You can find me at the home of Lifted Lifestyle, liftlifestyle.com, Twitter at Chaz Bailey, or just the Creative Opportunities there on Instagram. Definitely happy to be back again. Another show, another week.
Yes, indeed. I'm feeling good. I can't complain at all. You know, the sun is shining, and I feel like I'm shining too.
That's good. That's good. Me too. I got some cocoa butter on, and so I'm shining. I'm all greased up.
You are so silly. So silly. So, of course, you know, we start every show with a moment of gratitude, as gratitude is the gateway to abundance. So, Mr. Bailey, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for humanity. I know a lot of times you don't hear that as much as news cycles go on, but I would say humanity, because within every news episode is always something that's going on good, something we always do here, the good news stories, and just seeing how abundance of people are really looking out for each other, from great young people are assisting at nursing homes to volunteer groups to helping in homelessness. Just all of these things that are on the radar on a daily basis provides you a moment of clarity, a moment of hope, a moment of peace internally. And I love seeing it. So I just want to shout out to all the humanitarians out there. It doesn't mean that you have to have money in your pocket to be humanitarian. It's just bringing a smile or bringing joy to someone's face. So I enjoy seeing that.
Indeed. Small acts of kindness are definitely big in the world.
Yes.
Today I am grateful for moments of silence, just being able to sit still, quiet my thoughts, and listen to my heart. You know, just to take a moment and just kind of realign, reconnect, and come back to center. I don't get a lot of those moments. So, you know, when I do and I am strategic about them, I'm always grateful that they showed up.
And you can't beat that.
Yes, indeed. So what's the topic of our show today?
It's something we always hear a lot, but we're going to take a spin on it. It's teamwork makes the dream work. In terms of teamwork, it does make the dream work because it requires more than one person. But today we're going to look at it from a relationship aspect.
Okay. So divining those relationship dynamics with teamwork being the focus.
Yes, exactly. Because in a relationship, no matter what it is, it always starts off as a dream, a vision. You may have seen that beautiful person walking by and it's like, I want to know that person better. So now you have a vision. And then you say, okay, I'm thinking about this person. When is the next time I'm going to see him? I think about Alicia Keys. You don't know my name, that video. She was just serving them and all of that good stuff. And then it leaves a dream, it becomes reality. But once it becomes reality and you come together, you all have a dream together. And so what that dream are you all trying to reach, albeit it may be marriage, it may be grandchildren, it may just be having a companion. What is that dream? And that's what we want to talk about today. Teamwork makes the dream work for relationships.
Indeed. I think that, you know, we live in a world where we've all watched the Cinderella movies and, you know, the sweeping love stories and all those things. But relationships take real work.
Oh, yeah.
And they take work on the part of both people in the relationship in order to make it successful and happy. You know, you can be in a relationship and not be happy.
Oh, of course.
So some of the things that we're going to talk about today is how to make your relationship with your partner work so that it can not only be, you know, a relationship, but it can be happy, it can be thriving. You know, you guys can both come to the table and bring something that will impact and serve the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And so the first thing we're going to dive into is just give you a background. Why is it important? It is definitely important. Like, I look over to my right now, Latasha, who is my partner in life, partner in business, partner in everything else. But she has a red shirt on. I have a blue shirt on. This is fire and nice at its finest. You know, so I'm looking at it like in that particular sense. And that's the way we are sometimes, because it says you hear that people are so different that it can never work out. But then if you're a scientist, you hear opposites attract. So what is it? It's about the work, what goes in between. So we can get scientific in it, but that's, we're gonna say that for our chemists out there. But it is definitely important, because sometimes you don't necessarily define the team, and you don't define what journey different people came from. And so you just see this person with certain attributes that brings them to the team. Now that you're on this team, we need to make this team thrive because we have goals to achieve. And so I look at it in the sense of, now we're getting to the meat. So it's definitely important, because now that you're on this team, we got to make it work. And how can we make it work? Because we're not just here just to be here.
And I think for me, you know, when I think about the concept of teamwork and why teamwork is important in relationships, romantic relationships specifically, I think it's because of that very reason. We all come to the table with our own journeys, with our own experiences, with our own bag per se. And you have to be in alignment with another person in order to make it work with your own experiences. You know, I tell people all the time, like, one of the hardest things you're gonna have to deal with when you get married is deciding how to fold the towels.
Yeah.
Because when you get married and you've both been adults and on your own for a while, you all have your system of how you do things.
Yeah.
And yes, the towels are a small thing, but they represent a much larger concept.
Exactly.
They represent the fact that everybody has a system already in place. So if you do not come to a relationship, a romantic partnership, with the idea of, I am now coming into a team environment, into alignment with another person, you're gonna always have difficulties. It's why, you know, you can't be one-sided in your romantic partnerships, or one person is gonna be unhappy.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be unhappy.
Somebody's gonna be unhappy unless you come to the table willing to say, okay, you know. Which brings me to our first topic is, in order to create a teamwork dynamic in your relationship, you need rules of engagement.
Yes.
You need to sit down with your partner and decide what is important to you at your core. These are the things that at my core are important to me.
Yeah.
They're the things that make me up as a person. What is important to you?
Yeah, and that's highly important, because, like we said, we came on different journeys before we got here. We have different systems before we got here. So understanding that, I understand that it's some things I just like to do and some things I just hate to do. You know, you have those things, but until you voice those concerns, how that other person in your team are going to know that? They can be putting you in a position to set you up for failure by giving you nothing but things that you hate. But unless they know that, and you haven't established that, then you have a wall that you're trying to knock down that didn't even have to be there. So if you come clear and say, hey, this is what I like to do, this is what I dislike, this is some of my habits, what are some of your habits? Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of just coming back to the drawing board. That's pretty much it. What are you building your foundation upon? Because we're both builders. We can look at it, we're both tall, stern columns. And what type of foundation are we going to build on? I'm good for being a sandcastle. You're good for being a structure downtown. So how can we bring that together and thrive and be a majestic building together?
You know, Chaz and I are essentially fire and ice. We're polar opposites. So when you think about it, in every sense, I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. You know, all the opposites you can think of, we are. So in the beginning of our relationship, we had to get real clear on what we expected from the other person. Now, ladies and gentlemen, but primarily ladies, I see this happen with a man or your partner cannot read your mind. If you do not say specifically, I need, I want, please, can you cannot expect your partner to meet you at the level of your expectations that you have not made known to them. Yeah. Stop waiting for people to read your mind, you know, and stop being resentful about things that you are not getting that you have not asked for.
No, I can agree. And then for us guys and ladies too, but mostly guys, I only can be fair. We have to move along and understand that it is more than one way to do things and more than one perspective. And so sometimes when we get started with different things, we'll think that's the general consensus when we only asked ourselves and our peers. But ourselves and our peers are made up of the same environment. In that environment, that is true. But we got to understand sometimes our partners, sometimes our friends, and sometimes the people that we're involved with come from different environments. So we have to not only understand them, but we understand where they came from, because that provides a broader perspective. And once you understand that perspective, you understand how to navigate within those boundaries, and you understand little things that you see are not nuances. It's just ways of navigation from their environment, and then vice versa. They will see it the same way for you. So then what that does creates a discussion. And when you have that discussion, then you can work it out and iron out little fine details, so that saves you from having headaches and heartaches and things of that nature. And it sets your life up to be great with that person that you're looking to be with.
And rules of engagement create safety in the relationship. And you can start off by, okay, these are the things that I would appreciate if we implemented in our relationship. Yeah. Talking to each other with kindness, not going to bed angry. Whatever your things are, you got to create those rules of engagement on the front end, because it is a lot easier to create them on the front end than it is to undo toxic culture inside of a relationship on the back end.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
that's true. You have to know who each other are at the core. I love sports and comics and things like that. One thing that comes to mind, we talk about Fire and Ice, but just like Batman and Superman, you have a man that is a superhuman being from outer space who is Superman. Then you have just a regular billionaire that has gadgets that are really cool, that do things, who is Batman. But they have two different things and two different vantage points, and whoever's vantage point supersedes the other sometimes causes conflict. But when they work together, we have a cohesiveness, and they stop bad guys, etc. Same way in the sports world. I may want to be a running back, and you may want to be a quarterback. A quarterback wants to throw the ball. Running back just wants to run the ball. But sometimes as a team, we have to come together. I have to catch the ball as a running back, and sometimes she has to run the ball as a quarterback. And it's just working together, understanding who each other are, understanding where they came from, and it allows you to navigate through life together, because you not only, like you said, have that understanding. You already have something there for them. So you have a willingness to learn. You have a willingness to do. You have those type of environments that create it. And so you want to continue to build upon each other.
Mm-hmm. And, I think that once you've created that foundation, you've created that safety, you've kind of put the foundation out there, and you've had those hard conversations going into the relationship, it really makes it a lot easier to say, okay, well, we said we were not going to go to bed angry. We said we were going to apologize when we knew we were wrong. We were not going to let our egos get in the way. Whatever your rules of engagement are, you have to commit to them.
Yeah.
You have to commit to them.
And
correct. Then going forth, you have to understand that each person has their strengths and their weaknesses. So you have to be willing to accommodate for the other person's weaknesses and come to the table saying, you know what, I am good at, and owning who you are as a person.
Yeah, because we all are individually just a puzzle. And we hopefully chose the person that's the missing piece to ours. And so the puzzle pieces fit in different areas. And so sometimes we have to shape awkward as a puzzle is. A puzzle, if you just look at a puzzle piece, it's quite awkward. It's not a geometrical shape. So sometimes you have to lean this way and move that way, but that's how we working internally. Sometimes I may not have to speak as much. I may not have to lead as much in this area because I have this person with me. But where there are holes in my life, just like a puzzle piece, this person fits that mold. And now we're a beautiful picture together. And that's what we have to be. We have to understand that we can move, we can shape, because it's not about how we look with ourselves. Just like we just said, it's how we do things. It's no longer saying this is how I do something. This is not how something you do something, because those rules no longer matter. We just built our world together. So building that world together, we have new legislation. We have new rules and guidelines that are based here. It's not based on what I used to do, not based on what you used to do. It's about what we do. And hopefully my strengths fill in the whole of your puzzle where your weaknesses are, and vice versa. It's not saying that as a man you got to do this, as a woman you got to do this, because sometimes it's inverted. You may have, like, I'm an introvert, but you let society tell it usually women are more quiet and all these things. No, That's not humans are humans. You know,
Not the woman you chose.
exactly. So that's what and so it's funny, but that's something we have to understand. Like, it may make you feel uncomfortable, but don't push your uncomfortability on someone else, because that's, at the end of the day, that makes you stronger, because we're all pieces to a puzzle, and when we come complete, that's it.
And I think that being able to be honest about your strengths and your weaknesses is important in your relationship dynamic, because it allows you to be helped. One of the things that I had to learn was I didn't have to conquer the world by myself anymore. I had someone who would come and say, you know what, you've been working too hard, you've been doing too much, time out. Let me pick it up. I can do this for the business. I can do this for home. You get some rest. So having someone who will come to the table and say, you know what? One of your weaknesses is you're a little bit of a workaholic, and being able to honor that, I will do it that way, so I can back up, have my self-care, because I know that my partner in life and my partner in business is going to pick up the ball. It's going to go and do the work for our, world that we're building together. But you have to have those conversations. So now I can come to the table and say, babe, I'm tired. Can you help me with?
Yeah.
But it took my partner to come to the table and say that, hey, you know what? I'm committed to this. I'm good at this. I can help us do this, in order for me to be able to feel safe enough to take off the cape and let down the guard and just say, you know what? I'm not out here alone anymore.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%, because what you do in the first steps we spoke about, you're basically building a foundation. And once you build that foundation, you don't have to worry about sinking under. A foundation is a solid block of concrete or what have you. So you're not going to go under that. So at that point, no matter what your foundation is built upon, that love you have, if they come to you with some constructive criticism about things that you can possibly do better, or pushing you in the right direction, truly this person really has my best interest in mind. This person loves me. This person wants the best for me. And it's different from an outside entity telling you that, because you don't know their motives. So if the motive on the foundation we built is only going to be building upon getting us greater as a unit, then okay, let me go ahead and accept this, because this is a weakness I may have not known I had. So, with me, I don't really like the word weakness. It's a developing strength. And it develops through my partner. So sometimes we develop things internally, but sometimes we can develop what we have and what we chosen as a partner, because no longer I need to do different things. And like I used the Superman analogy earlier, like it's one thing that can kill Superman kryptonite, but they never tell the story. I believe Lois Lane can kill him if he wanted to at any time, because he's right there with her. His cape, he's not flying. He's sitting there crying, talking about his mama and all of this, that, and the third. She can get him every time, but she doesn't do it because they have a foundation. So what is your foundation? What are you creating for your team to thrive?
And I think that brings me to the next thing, being prepared to adjust.
Yeah.
Being prepared to go into the relationship dynamic with the willingness of, this is how I've always done things, but if I have to change, if I have to adjust how I've always done things in order to make us win, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
But that comes from a firm commitment to the relationship. You can't be more committed to yourself than you are to the team.
Exactly. Because one person doesn't win a championship alone. It's never been done.
Indeed.
It takes a whole team. And so, not necessarily using a sports analogy, but what is your goal? One person has never had a baby by themselves. If your goal is family, you can't do it alone. Your goal is to have a foundation that others can look towards to. You can't do it alone. So sometimes you have to be willing to take the eye out of it and move around and say, this is us. This is who we are. This is our unit. And I'm adjusting. And some people are going to come to you and say, man, I remember you used to do that. Or girl, I remember this used to happen. Why you don't do that no more? It's because I play for a different team now. I was just an independent operating person. Now I'm in a partnership. Indeed. And so that's the way my life is being ran now. So some of those things, you take 100% of one thing and put 100% of another. It's not 100% of a new thing. It's 50-50. It's about a mixture that has been made that consists of both objects or both units, and that's what we are. So you have to be willing to adjust. That means if you pour something 100% of water and 100% of oil, you got 50% water, 50% oil. So now you have a different mixture. You have a different component.
It's a brand new. It's a brand new thing.
And so, what do you call that? That's called us. Whatever your name is. You want what's your family name?
Team Bailey.
Yes, whatever it is. So that's what it is. So that's your new element. So what are you operating in your new element? And one thing I want to say, though we talked about these 5 points in terms of teamwork makes the dream work, this is not only for people that are already in relationships. These are things you can place in and get your life together and get in order going into a relationship. So you can still do that dream and envision, just pick the person, pick the man, pick the woman that you want. But also you understand how to navigate going into it, because I can tell you this much. By already having a relationship and inputting these things, it takes a little bit more work. But if you start it from the beginning right there, your foundation is solid from the beginning. We're going through and resurfacing, if we're already in one. So definitely take heed to that, whether you're single or in a committed relationship.
Definitely. And I think that what's important for the teamwork dynamic is putting the other person before you. I am constantly considerate of what Chaz needs, what Chaz thinks, what is Chaz feeling. And while I'm doing that, Chaz is
doing the same on paper. No, I'm just saying. No, really doing the same. Before you do anything, you have to, like we discussed in some of our business calls and things of that nature, that you have to understand what's your audience, and your audience is only 2 members of this team. And if you have children, you have other members that follow under you. You're the executive board. What I do is going to affect everybody that is a part of this unit. So I always think, okay, I want to do this, but what is the outcome? I know this outcome is this for me, but what is the total outcome? How is this person going to feel? How do I anticipate this person will feel with that? And then that opens up a new lane. If I'm unsure, that means I need to ask a question. Because if you don't ask a question, you only assume, that means you leave a margin for error that's greater than whatever you're trying to accomplish. Because if it's totally opposite, now you have just created a conflict, and you never want to create a conflict in your team.
So if you are operating with your partner in the forefront of your mind, and you have a partner who is operating with you at the forefront of their mind, you cannot lose.
You can't lose.
You cannot miss. And you're gonna always, now misconstrue my message. There may be times where there are disagreements, but that foundation and the fact that you've put your partner at the forefront of your mind makes it easy to come back to the table and reconcile, even in moments of discord and disagreement.
Exactly.
Because it is the team dynamic. Everything is so that the team will benefit first and foremost.
Exactly.
And then, that's not to say denying who you are as a person, because teams work best when 2 whole people come together. Yep. When 2 talented people come together, when 2 self-assured people come together, when 2 people who are willing to do the work in their individual lives before and during a relationship, that the team dynamic work the best. So if you take nothing else away from this, take our call to action. Sit down and think about, what are your core values individually? What are the things that you need to bring to the foundation? And then having that conversation about relationship dynamics with your partner.
Exactly.
And getting on one accord for your team and for your relationship.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. So before we go any further today, I want to talk about our good news story. Of course, we can't leave without that.
Yeah, we got to have it.
Today, our good news story was it was about partnership.
Okay.
And in a romantic relationship, there was a man who had a Mustang that he absolutely loved. It was like his most prized possession. So his kids got together and bought back the Mustang that he sold when his wife had cancer.
Wow.
He sold the Mustang because it was what was best for his family, in order to pay for his wife's cancer treatments. So his kids, and I'm all emotional, his kids got together to buy back that car.
Now that's awesome
for him. Because he had sacrificed it for their family.
And that's what you do as a team. Sometimes, like, he may have been known as the Mustang Man, but he's known to his family as dad, as my husband, as the family guy. And I'm willing to get rid of that part to have what I want and what I need to survive, which is my family. And as I always say, what you throw out there always come back. His children saw that and gave it right back to him. So now he is still that whole person that he started off with. That didn't make him no less the Mustang Man. So definitely shout outs to his children for doing that. Shout outs to his family. And I definitely wish the best on the cancer that they're fighting. But that's an amazing story to end our show with. That's amazing.
Definitely. And it just really talked about the team dynamic for me. It really brought it all together that, there are going to be some times where you're going to have to sacrifice even things that you want for the greater good of the team. And that sacrifice will always be rewarded. And it'll always come back to you when you put the team dynamic first.
Exactly.
So remember that it is Black Girl Excellence Award season. I'm sorry, I got to get myself together now, right?
Black Girl World Award season.
It's the Black Girl Excellence Awards season. We are preparing for the 2019 Black Girl Excellence Awards National Tour. The Black Girl Excellence Awards is an event geared toward highlighting the power players in all industries while inspiring the next generation of leaders to follow us. All of our vendors for the event are between the ages of 8 and 18 years old. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
we're going to have vendors come and bring their businesses, and they're between the ages of 8 and 18 years old. This year in 2019, we're going to be in 3 cities. Montgomery, Alabama on January 26, 2019. Baton Rouge, Louisiana on February 9th, 2019. And our trusty Houston, Texas on March 9th, 2019. We have some amazing surprises in store. We're going bigger and better this year. As you can already tell, we've moved from 1 city to 3 cities.
Yes.
So keep watching this event. Go and buy your tickets. They are now on sale at theliftedlifestyle.com. There's a whole page dedicated to the Black Girl Excellence Awards.
Yes.
This event sells out every year. Every year. It sells out. So do not hesitate to go and get your tickets to the 2019 Black Girl Excellence Awards in Montgomery, Alabama, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Houston, Texas.
That's amazing. So definitely come on out and support these amazing women and young girls that are doing amazing things to help change the dynamic of entrepreneurship in communities of color around the world. So we hope to see you in 2019 at these 3 sessions. Pick one. States come out: Alabama, Louisiana, Texas.
Come to all of them.
Come to all of them. So definitely check us out. Have any questions, reach out to us. Theliftedlifestyle.com. We're definitely here for you. Anything else?
Remember, at The Lifted Lifestyle, we aspire to inspire, uplift, elevate, and empower. We are committed to your elevation. Remember that your journey is your own. So don't forget to live lifted.
Take care.